Okay, hey everyone, Jen here. In this short video, I wanted to share a case study of how I was able to book 15 calls from LinkedIn and cold email and close about 10K in sales just in 1 week. And I was able to do this after coming back from a recent vacation. So I shared about this on Facebook, and you can see that I got about 200 to 300 comments on my post of sharing the case study. So I wanted to kind of capture this here and share this in video format with you all as well. So caveat, this is of course not a hundreds of thousands of dollars per year case study, and it's not even a 100K months case study. There's obviously a lot of gurus out there doing really big numbers. This is quite a humble case study, but it's a case study of within the first year of operation for me and how I was able to build out a system that worked consistently for me, even when I was able to go on holiday, and how that's working for my clients as well. So growing a business is not complex. It actually comes down to a few basic steps. However, it's not easy to do that. So even though it's fairly straightforward, one or two steps, these are things that people can often get wrong. When one or two element is out of step, it's really hard to be getting the lead flow and closing the lead flow that you need. So it really does come down to two basic elements. Are you booking enough calls? And then are you closing enough of those calls? And if you're not able to get the lead flow and book the calls, then of course you can't close them. Or potentially you're booking the calls, but they're the wrong type of calls, and then you can't close them. Or there's something problematic in your sales process, and so you're getting great leads, but you're not able to turn that into business. So we're going to look at these steps in a little bit of detail. So the first step can be broken down into various components, and it really comes down to your offer and the offer message. So you need an offer that solves a painful problem, whether that's for a business or an individual, depending on your market. So I help B2B consultants and agencies, and so they're always helping businesses with a business problem. So whether that's a growth problem or a revenue efficiency problem, a hiring problem, a systems problem, a technical problem, ultimately business problems always boil down to one common denominator, and that's money. And so every single problem, whether it's human, technical, systems, other things, what it's doing is it's costing a business money. And so being able to position what you offer, anything that you offer a business, in terms of the financial benefit or the financial saving or the financial increase is really important, because that's where they're going to listen, because that's their pain point ultimately underneath everything else. You also need an offer that creates a desired result, and these two hold hands. So a painful problem is always tied to a desired result. And where people fall down with positioning their offer is they're not really talking about the painful problem enough. They're talking about something technical like a software or a tool, and they're not really getting to the bottom of it, which is ultimately about loss of profitability for the company. But another failure in these step one and step two that I see often is people who are trying to solve too many painful problems, and so therefore they can't show a clear desired result. So for example, a consultant or a business that can help authors publish books, TEDx speakers speak on stage, first-time entrepreneurs land deals, mature entrepreneurs land, $1 million deals. Like when there's this array of services that you provide, it's really hard to show consistent results, because the author that publishes a book is a very different result to the entrepreneur who closes millions of dollars of deals. And what this can mean is it's very hard for the people that you're reaching out to really grasp what you do and how you're able to help them. And so they feel like it's not quite for them, or this offer is, helping a different type of client. And so the more specific you can be about the kind of problems that you solve and the kind of desired results that you create, the better. And finally, not talking in terms of, say, a technical solution, like I'm going to give you this ERP software system. It's really about, I'm going to help you halve your reporting time and cut down all these manual processes so that give you back X number of hours a month, which is a clear financial benefit for the company as well as an efficiency thing. So ultimately, what you need with your outreach messaging is talking about those tangible results very clearly. So helping businesses double or triple their revenue within 3 to 6 months, helping a specific type of business. So a business stuck at 10 million to double or triple their revenue within 6 to 12 months. The more specific you can be about who you help, the kind of results that you create, in as tangible a terms as possible, the better you will be at finding the right leads and then getting those leads to even engage with you and book that call and come and have a conversation with you. So, for example, this is what I like to call a power promise. The first example here is very vague, helping SMEs with their SEO and paid ads. So we've got SMEs, which is quite a generic group of people. SEO and paid ads is a method. It's not a solution, and it's not really talking to a problem that the business has. Whereas you can make a much stronger power promise by getting specific about who you help. I help e-commerce businesses. So this is now way more specific than SMEs. Then it's about adding 20K to a monthly revenue. Okay, now we're talking financial benefit. This is much more attractive. And this is really talking to a pain point or a desired result. And the method is through SEO and paid ads. So it's still important, the method, but it's not really the kind of the hook here. But what we're creating is a 10x ROI on any ad spend. So that's the real kind of results-driven outcome here that really captures exactly the type of process that we're able to help the client with. And so with a strong power promise, all of your prospecting, all of your appointment setting, and all of the calls that you run will be a lot smoother and clearer and much more effective and result in more closed business. The next step of booking the calls is really to focus on the channel where your ideal clients are. So if you're helping individuals with health, fitness, wellness, relationships, probably Facebook and Instagram are the channels where you could find your ideal clients. There's many channels, of course. There's so many different social media platforms. So explore the different channels where your ideal client is. I focus on B2B decision makers, and by far the best channels for me to prospect is on LinkedIn and cold email. And I always advocate that my clients use LinkedIn and cold email as a killer combination, because when people are responsive on LinkedIn, we can follow it up by an email. Maybe they're not responsive on LinkedIn, we've still got an email to reach out to them, and vice versa. Some people will read an email and then respond on LinkedIn, or if they're not reading the email, we have a chance of reaching out to them on LinkedIn. So we just want to double that outreach to business decision makers on the right channel, and then focus on that channel without trying to add also a YouTube channel, also a Facebook outreach channel, also an Instagram content feed. This is at the beginning phase. Obviously, you can include other channels as you mature. So the truth is that cold outbound prospecting to B2B decision makers using LinkedIn and email is, in my view, the leanest and most direct method of filling up your pipeline. I advocate for it because it actually requires very little time and money. Once you have a system in process, it doesn't take a lot to maintain. And when you're able to lead with value and grow a network, it's that real network effect of like connecting with the right people, offering lots of value. You want to be able to network intelligently, not hit people up with lots of sales pitches, and really nurture leads for kind of those longer term relationships and bigger deals. With strategies like this, you can beat that 1 to 2% ratio that's most cold prospecting, and I'll show you how you can do that. So here's an example of some of the outreach campaigns that I've done. So I was able to actually achieve on average about a 50% connection rate, whereas 20 to 30 is an industry average, and it can be less depending on your niche and industry. So you want to maintain a high relevancy to your market and a high connection rate when you're using LinkedIn to be able to just grow your network and even have the right eyeballs on your content. Then what you want is a high reply rate, and that's based on, are we sending the right people the right message? So message creation is very key here, and that rests on that offer and the saying the right thing to the right people. And so getting a 44% reply rate for your outreach messages is really great when the industry average is 10 to 20% or even lower than that. Okay, still on step one, and we're still trying to book the calls. What you want to do is to eliminate things, automate things, and delegate things. So elimination is what we've touched on before, of like cutting out all the other channels so that you're not trying to service a million different channels and create content across all of them, but really eliminate and focus on the 1 or 2 channels that are really going to yield the right kind of lead and the right kind of conversations. Next, if you can automate it, that's great. So you can automate email outreach, obviously. You can automate LinkedIn. There's different tools and things that help you systemize that, so you're not manually sending every single thing. And then delegation is the kind of master step where you're able to fully hand over a lot of these tasks to an assistant or a virtual assistant or someone who can handle it on your behalf and essentially just be booking the calls for you. And then it frees you up to just take the sales calls while you're also operating and running the business. It's critical to track and measure your KPIs so that you're measuring the number of outbound touch points with the number of inbound replies and call bookings and things. And then finally, you want to systemize all of that. So what that means is you can step away for a holiday or vacation. You can have an assistant or a virtual assistant in place. They can keep working. They can keep setting appointments while you're away. And when you come back from your holiday, you can have a calendar fully booked. So in my example, I came back from a week of holiday. I had 15 calls in the diary, and all I had to do was take the sales calls, close the deals, and I had $10,000 in cash at the end of that week. So here's an example, bit of a screenshot of a automation sequence workflow. These are tools that I have been using and continuing to use. It's changing all the time because there's different tools in the market. But basically, you can see that we are using a kind of a lead source, so something like LinkedIn Sales Navigator or an email lead database, such as something like Apollo. We want to clean leads. So there's different tools you can use. Never Bounce is just one tool. And then you want to set up an automation to be sending email and LinkedIn messages. And then, of course, they talk to each other because there's an email LinkedIn cadence of sending to both of them. Replies, obviously, can be booked into Calendly, and then you can set up Zapier to automate those leads straight into your CRM or email sending to software like ActiveCampaign or CRM like HubSpot. So that's an example of a kind of full stack automated funnel. Also, here's an example of tracking and automation. So Zapier is a very great tool for connecting different tools to each other. When an action happens in Calendly, it can zap a contact into your CRM. Or if you get a LinkedIn reply, it can zap that reply or that message into a Google Sheet. And obviously, you want to track all your KPIs and percentages around outreaches, number of connections, number of calls booked, and number of sales. And of course, what you want to do when working with a virtual assistant is have fully systemized standard operating procedures or SOPs, which are essentially like workflow documents with video guides, key resources, and instructions. And this is something that I'm able to help you with, is set up and utilize standard operating procedures for your daily workflow. This is just an example one of using Loom videos and sending Loom videos to your client. And there's multiple things around list building, email sending, LinkedIn replies, logging leads in your database. All of these things can be fully systemized and outsourced to a virtual assistant. All right, so step one's finished. Moving to step two, this is where you have to close the calls. Now, if you're getting good lead flow at this point, you want to pre-qualify your leads. So whether that's done in the conversation leading up to the call, it could also be done through a survey that you ask your lead to fill out, and just create scarcity and just say, we have a really high number of calls this week, so we'd appreciate if you fill out this survey. It just gives us information ahead of the call so that we know if it's best that we could refer you to somebody else or actually take the call ourselves. And that means you can get a lot of information from your leads in advance of the call, and it means you can decide whether you would actually refer them on and actually not take the call yourself, or take the call if they qualify as a potential lead. So it's a way of potentially doing less calls, but with those calls being with more quality prospects. And then, of course, you want to develop a sales call framework. Some people choose to go for a short discovery call before actually doing the sales call. That can work if you have a cold calling like agency, or even a virtual assistant can help you by touching base, doing a quick discovery call, asking a few key questions, essentially that pre-qualification process. And then if they get all the right answers, then of course they can book the sales call in your diary and you can take the sales call. So it's another way of pre-qualifying and making sure that the sales calls that you do take are actually high caliber kind of leads and prospects. Or you can just go for the one call and take the call, fully pitch at the end of the call and go for the one call close. It's totally up to you. Depends on the number of leads that you're getting and the quality of those leads on a regular basis. Okay, next up for closing calls is the necessity to just follow up and follow up and follow up and nurture your pipeline. So as leads come in your pipeline, the top of the pipeline is anyone who says, yes, I'd be interested in a conversation, or yes, I'd be interested in your webinar or your VSL or your ebook or anything that you're offering at the top of your pipeline just to get leads interested. And then nurturing those is pretty critical to follow them up. So that could be anything like touching base via email regularly, warm calling, so following them up via phone calls, but also offering more value. So offering regular webinars, regular free training, offering other ways of them to kind of be advanced down your pipeline and further warm to you. So inviting them into a community like a Facebook group or another type of online Discord group or some kind of WhatsApp group or anything where you're going to be nurturing a community. Obviously, if you're mature enough to have a business development lead on your team, that person can handle the follow-ups and that lead nurture and even regular in-person meetings and things like that to just kind of advance those conversations and build relationships with those clients. And finally, this is something that's worked for me a lot over the last year of running my business is to invest in coaching. And coaching can improve all of these steps. So I've constantly worked on an offer message with different coaches. I've improved my prospecting systems across LinkedIn and email and continue to do so and take other people's programs to improve that. You can always improve your sales assets. So things like VSLs, things like ebooks, your webinar content, any of your written content, copywriting, things like that can always be improved and different coaches can help you out with that. Obviously, there's a lot of coaches that specialize in helping you with sales calls and sales processes and things. And then I would always advocate to work with people on your mindset because each new step of your business, whether you're starting, you're growing, or whether you're really kind of pushing to a high level, like mindset and even the way that you think, the way that you plan, the way that you're processing information is absolutely key. So just being around the people who are achieving your goals, as well as the people who can help you come in and address, potential blockers, potential sabotaging thoughts, potential just misunderstandings and things is absolutely critical here. So definitely invest in coaching at every step of your journey. So here's my power promise. I help B2B consultants and agencies to win 10K to 100K contracts via LinkedIn and email outbound campaigns over 3 months. Now, I started helping coaches and consultants to use LinkedIn. And then I started to help B2B coaches and consultants to win 10K to 100K contracts on LinkedIn and email in 3 months. So you see how my offer has evolved to become more specific, more outcomes driven, more time bound, and using both LinkedIn and email. So that's where I'd say it's worth really kind of working on your power promise to be as specific as you can. At the same time, just being as simple and understandable as possible, not being too much of a mouthful. Now, if you would like to work with me, what I offer is a program over 3 months, which would help you build out your punchy message so that it's going to resonate with decision makers, so that you can craft some kind of value offer up front. So that could be a webinar, it could be a consultation session, it could be a video audit, it could be, there's so many different ways of offering value up front. With cold outreach, you want to just give an introductory offer to break the ice with the prospect. And then what we also build is a multi-channel outreach system across LinkedIn and email. So we come up with the creative messaging, the scripting, and everything that's designed to qualify and convert those into sales conversations. What I also help you with is fully hiring, training, and installing a virtual assistant and giving you all the SOPs, scripts, trackers, and reporting tools that I've been using with my VAs to help systemize that so that you can win your time back from any kind of prospecting and outreach. And this results in you just being able to focus on taking the calls regularly with your ideal client. So if you're interested in knowing more about how it works, it's typically 12 weeks. It's all one-to-one coaching. It's done with you. I also do a done for you service if you're interested in just fully outsourcing all of this. But this done with you program is coaching. I help you design the whole outreach and then install the virtual assistant to help you with that. So we can get weekly calls. You can have free coaching between our calls via email and WhatsApp. I have a full video training portal. All the worksheets and guides and templates and cheat sheets and scripts are all kind of pre-written and given to you with planners, tools and trackers and things like that. As mentioned, I can help you. I can fully hire and train a virtual assistant for you and hand them over to you. And they're typically between $3 to $5 an hour, depending where in the world we source them and their skill set. But $3 is very feasible. And then give you all the SOPs and everything for your virtual assistant, as well as help manage them across a 12-month period. So if full replacement, if the VA leaves within a year, there's no extra fee to fully replace them. And we provide support for your VA for 12 months. So who would this work best for? If you're a consultant or an expert and you're wanting more B2B clients, you have to have a proven offer. So you have to have been doing this for a while and be selling a proven offer worth 5K or more. Typically, the people that I work with are selling 10K, 30K, 50K packages. But if you're selling a 5K or more package, this can work for you. And it's really just for anyone who wants a lean system of bringing in more leads. It's really not a spammy or salesy outreach system, but an intelligent LinkedIn and cold email system. And basically, if you're sick of posting lots of content, or if you're just sick of waiting for referrals, that's a big one. So people relying entirely on inbound referrals to bring in clients and people who really don't have a system for outbound lead generation, this is for you. So if you want to reach out to me, please message me below. Add me on LinkedIn, Jen Bishop Consulting. Send me an email, jen@Jen Bishop Consulting. I'd love to hear from you. Check out my website, Jen Bishop Consulting. There's more videos and training there. I'd love to answer any of your questions or talk about how we can fully systemize and automate your LinkedIn and cold email outreach, how we could start booking you 15 calls a week, closing you 10K per week deals, and really be filling up your pipeline in a systematic way. So that brings us to the end of this training. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.